To you live from the beautiful streets, the beautiful city, Brazil. Talk about, my God, there's so much going on right now. It's like, where does one even begin? Let's see if anybody comes on. Today I want to just chit chat a little bit about where I'm at right now, one, because it's lovely. Sao Paulo, in the western portion of the city, in the area called Pinheiros, which is where I reside. I'll show you some of the businesses and the just loveliness that this city has to offer while we walk. But I also wanted to just check in with y'all to see who is keeping up with this Diddy Cassie fiasco, this federal case that is now in trial with Sean Combs and Cassie Ventura. And today's kind of a pivotal day in that whole debacle, that whole crazy nightmarish situation, because for the last couple of days Cassie has been she's been under examination by her lawyers. So she's about to be cross-examined. Hear it, you can't unsee it. There's no explanation for someone having undergone that level of torture, torment, degradation of their life. And, you know, she really is very much symbolic of the way that there really is this good and evil aspect, and that she got caught up as a young woman in a situation with a wickedness and evil that her youth would not allow her to even conceive of. And so even as she was going through all of this horror with Sean Combs, she still never really understood what was going on. One, because she was heavily being drugged, but two, because she just didn't have any kind of real, life experience, anything to draw from, anything to give her an understanding of what this was she was dealing with. And at a point, once that Stockholm syndrome kicks in, you start to think, hey, you might deserve what it is you're getting. And so the details that came out yesterday in the trial with Cassie Ventura under oath is something that is terrifying. It is absolutely something you cannot even wrap your mind around. And today I'm really just holding space for her. I don't know this woman, but as a woman, to think of a young girl at the age of 20, 21, enduring that level of horror for over 10 years, it just sends shivers through my spine. I mean, I have been through some horrible things with men, make no mistake, but it's like I couldn't even begin to compare my experiences to what she had to endure. And to be able to even come out and face life again after that. And she got very blessed, Unfortunately, it's very sad. I mean, she got literally eviscerated and her soul destroyed by, a man that looks like me, a brown man, came out of a brown woman. And the one that came and, so you have the whole white savior thing in place in her whole story. Because the person that pulled her out of that hell and gave her a safe space to land was, her Caucasian husband, her now husband, who is someone that, as many of you may or may not know, Alex Fine, is someone that Diddy had hired, Sean Combs had hired to train her. And when he's seen the conditions of her life, instead of turning his back like everyone else before, that had come around, that had aided and abetted, that had enabled him to be a disgusting creature, he decided, hell to the no, we're not doing this. And so he came with some strength, with some power, and gave her the courage to get the hell out. And so, yet again, we have all of these almost movie-like themes coming through. We got the white savior theme, we got the battle between good and evil, we got really the destruction of innocence, because at the end of the day, we are talking about, she was a child. I don't care if she was a couple years out of high school. This was a child Everybody don't want to look at it like that. They want to say she was legal. This was a child. 21, I barely knew shit about nothing. She was a child when he got his claws and sunk them into her. So this is the level of evil that we're dealing with. And sadly, I don't know why, our brothers can allow themselves to just go to that level of wickedness. But it's becoming more and more prevalent. I don't know why the corruption level and the readiness to be corrupt to your core is so easy for them. But I will say that, everything that is put out has its way of coming back. And I think seeing everything that this creature is having to endure right now, being imprisoned, uttering complete humiliation, all of his secrets being told about his sexuality, about his perversions, about his wickedness and the levels that is at. Just the disgusting being entity that he is. Right now, those are the chickens coming home to roost, okay? So yeah, right now, we're dealing with watching just so many levels, so many macrocosm level just lessons in watching this trial with Diddy and them, because at the end of the day, he tried to destroy the soul. He did pretty much eviscerate. He destroyed this young girl who, she's lucky. Yes, she has a support system, but even yesterday in the in the court under oath, she said, listen, just like in 2023, I had to get into rehab. I had to get some therapy. I wanted to walk into oncoming traffic. My husband wouldn't let me. Come on. Does that sound like somebody that's fully healed? And there is no fully healing from the shit that she endured. And that's the other thing. A lot of us who come from a background of abuse, narcissistic abuse, this soul-crushing type of abuse, which I have been involved in. I never allowed myself to stay long enough to allow it to completely destroy me. But I have watched the complete destruction of a soul due to narcissistic abuse. My own grandmother, so it's in my family. And I would just say that, those who want to dominate and overcome and enslave others, there's a special place in the most horrific parts of hell, if you want to say, for them. Because there just ain't no way. There's no way. And so even yesterday, we're hearing her testimony, not only of all the horrid details of everything she endured. I mean, it's way more than anything we had heard about through the little mentions in the media and everything. I mean, she went into detail. And I was able to see the detail as it was unfolding, because even though they're not televising her trial, BJ Investigates is following a live tweeter, somebody who's, giving us live tweets on X. So, you can see everything that's happening as it's happening. And then, of course, Tisa Tales is on scene. So she's coming out and telling us everything every time they take a break. So, for me, I'm not into celebrities like that. I find them to be interesting, like a case study, but I don't give a damn. But I do care about this because it has to do with sex trafficking. It has to do with organized crime, the way in which, these people that are considered higher up in society are able to elicit other people to do horrific things on their behalf and to turn a blind eye to all of the evil that they're engaged in just because they have money, just because they have power. All of this is interesting to me as someone who is a psychology buff, someone who loves psychology in general and always wanted to be a psychologist. Very interesting. So yeah, we're going to just keep watching, y'all. Right now I'm walking up a road here, lots of green on this road. We're here in Sao Paulo, beautiful Sao Paulo. For those of you who don't know, Sao Paulo is the biggest and the kind of financial epicenter in Brazil. It is a city with 12,000 in the kind of inner area of the city. And in the outskirts, I think it's about 12 million, 22 million, the whole metro area. So we're talking about a huge city. But what I love about this area that I'm in, Pineros, is that it's like its own little hub. You know, we have bush. It's not so urbanized that you don't hear birds in the morning, you know. We have bush. We have adorable, amazing shopping everywhere. We have great grocery stores. We have, you know, marketplaces on the street every day. So just a wonderful, wonderful little small, not really small because nothing's small in Sao Paulo, but like a community, a real community. Over time, you get to start to know people. They start to recognize you. You know, Brazil is not an easy place to actually make friends per se, but it is a nice place and an easy place to experience because it is friendly and people are helpful and they're humane. And these are some of the things that sometimes when you travel, some countries are missing a lot of those elements. So it's not attractive. You won't, you know, you don't fall in love with the place. It doesn't capture your heart. Brazil is somewhere that captures your heart because of the humanity, the kindness. You know, they give it a bad rap like it's some crazy violent place. I mean, there are parts of certain cities in Brazil that are especially troubling, but overall, wonderful city, quite safe, quite beautiful, full of art, full of international cuisine, delicious cuisine, just wonderful. I'm truly blessed to live here. But yeah, back to the Cassie. So yeah, all I say is sisters, people, hold space for that woman. Today she is 8 months, almost 9 months pregnant, and is about to be cross-examined by these enabling ass, evil, fucked up lawyers, you know, that are working to get this guy off for crimes that it ain't no word for. Okay? So we're holding space for her today, that she will be able to get through that her child, her unborn child, will not be harmed by the disgusting, terrorized experiences she's going to have to recount and then be questioned on and almost accused of lying about, and all the things that we know are going to happen today. I don't know if I could do it. So she's a different type of being, okay? So I really want to hold space for this woman. I don't care if she's what color she is. She not black. I don't care. I know sisters is resting right now and we're not getting involved in other people's crap. But as a woman and as a mother like her, I definitely am holding space for today because I couldn't imagine being in a position to have to do anything like what she has to do right now, you know. And today is when the heat is really going to get turned up, and it's already been enough. She's already been emotional on the stand. It's already been enough. And this was talking to, you know, her lawyers. So y'all can imagine. And you know, Diddy's legal team is they're playing real dirty, you know, because they know they don't have nothing. And now that Cassie's testimony has come out, they, you know, they realize, wow, the degree and how amazing of a witness she has been, that they have nothing. The only thing they have is their shystiness and their ability to play as dirty as they can. So they are doing things like withholding different evidence that's supposed to have been submitted. They're withholding things. They're playing games and manipulating the judge, who is a little bit of a newbie judge. Okay, so he's doing his thing. He's trying to be fair, but he's a little green. And so he's getting worked by these lawyers that have been lawyers for 30 years. It's a lot going on in this case. You know, Diddy knew what he was doing. He hired 8 super high-level attorneys, okay, to defend him. And he had the money to do so. So, you know, at the end of the day, I don't think he's going to be freed. I mean, how could you let that back into society? But another really interesting point about this whole thing is how the children, his children, and, you know, they're not really children. Most of them are grown folk. But his actual family has been in the court every single day, including the 3 daughters. So he has the twin daughters that I think are like turning 18 or recently turned 18, and And the other one, I think her name is Chance, and she's about the same age. So those daughters in the courtroom, I heard from what I hear, getting up and going so in and out. Because you imagine having to hear that this man that you trusted, your parent, and I'm not sure, I'm not saying they don't know about how dirty and horrible he lives, but I'm sure they didn't know to the degree that they're hearing now. The boys probably did because they had got to the point where they were participating with him and are basically cut from the same cloth. But I'm wondering, I don't know if the girls knew the extent of things. So now here they've been sitting up having to hear this, hear that this woman that was around them for so many years, Cassie, this is what she was enduring while in the presence of that beast. A lot. Leave and really could not get out, but she could. That made it feel safe and cushioned enough energetically as the man she ended up marrying. You know, that's the only one that could pull her out. Her family couldn't, mom, dad, nobody. So it's a deep, deep thing, y'all. We just have to, stay abreast. I'll come back on here and talk some more. It's good to talk about the details, but there's so many live streamers and people who are on scene and who are giving us all the details. Like Tisa, of course, she's the best. She's giving us all the goods. So yeah, if you want to get more of the detail nitty gritty, check her out. And that's it, y'all. Hope everyone's having a wonderful Thursday. I've been just grinding. I'm in a new house right now, enjoying that and just enjoying life in general. We'll do some more videos about Sao Paulo. And there's just so much to do here, so much I want to share. And for those of you who aren't aware, we are offering tours. So walking tours, cultural tours, nightlife tours. It's really fun here when you know where to go and how to move and maneuver. So if you're ever interested in coming to Brazil and you want to check out the South here, it's not Bahia, it's its own energy. It's a totally different thing. I've lived in Bahia and Salvador as well. That's wonderful in its way, and so is this. So if you're interested, hit me up. Imara Ifawuyi at gmail.com. Bye, y'all.